What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sprint Talks. I am super excited for this one. We have Andrew Martin, the voice of Total Running Productions. I've been watching your channel for years, probably since 2017, when my brother first sent me your YouTube video on Johan Blake and what he could possibly run in the 200 at Brussels if he had a better reaction to the gun. Or not the stumble.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. So I'm also very excited to probably give you your biggest introduction before tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Of your face to the voice.
Yep. I appreciate it. And I cannot believe it's been that long since that video came out. And one of our better videos ever. So
yeah, what is it? I think it's like multi-million.
I think it's like 1.4 million, which is still amazing. That's
really?
crazy.
It's not in the twos? Yeah.
I mean, we could check.
I feel like we got to look it up.
And it deserves all the accolades. That was a crazy performance. But yeah, I'm super pumped to be here in Boston. Honestly, it's thanks to you. You hooked me up with a cool position. We'll be live with New Balance tomorrow. I have no clue when this is going to air, but probably will have already happened.
It definitely will.
So if you watched it and I did great, thanks. If I didn't, we'll do better next time.
That's my view.
I'm confident though. It's going to be fun.
No, I think it's going to be very good. I definitely threw your name in the hat as a first choice.
Thank you.
And a confident choice.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the guy. I know you guys want to use somebody safe because it's the first one, but we at least have to have one person who just knows their stats, who has the personality, who is willing to know every event. I mean, you have me watching marathon videos. I do not care about the marathon. I promise you I don't. Yet here I am listening to 5K split times,
yes.
Mile split times.
These are important.
You know what temperature is best for a marathon?
And what is more or less?
It is about 48 to 55 degrees.
He's not lying. That's amazing. I mean, it helps to have Kipchoge behind the scenes.
It does.
The GOAT being there, so, I mean, that's cool. But, yeah, I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And we were just talking about this before we stepped on, but it does feel surreal that, we're here, that I'm here. Because YouTube is such a unique platform. I've always loved running, and I've never had a good outlet for it. So now that there's this huge platform with millions of people to potentially watch it, I'm just excited that people enjoy it. I'm super excited to jump in tomorrow and make some really obscure statistical breakdowns. Maybe we'll talk about, you versus Fred versus Akeem Blake from Jamaica coming in, whatever it may be. It's going to be super fun. So, and I have no clue what we're going to talk about, but before the cameras even came on, we've touched on some very interesting things.
Yeah,
so
we've been talking for a little
wherever
while.
it goes, I'm excited. And this podcast is great. You got a great team. Shout out to Jack and Noah. Let it be live. These guys are the magic makers, bringing the reality to the screen here. So, yeah, it's a cool vibe you got here.
I appreciate that. They do a good job. We've made some very good projects together, and
yeah, very impressed.
I'm very excited that we've been able to bring this podcast equipment on the go. Something that we've been trying to do for months. Yeah, months. And again, I'm very excited to have you because speaking on so for anybody who doesn't know, we're going to be doing our first pre and post show. One of my brainchild, but I can't take full credit for that because it's been a lot of other people's brainchilds. But I feel like we're going to be trying to get this in motion to happen at multiple track meets. Yeah. And Andrew here is going to be one of our hosts. He's going to be hosting with Dan O'Brien. And
the Olympic gold medalist.
Exactly.
So he got a little more accolades than I do on the track.
Yeah, but I feel that the climate of the sport as of right now very well. Yeah. And again, it's not just from a professional side. I mean, tomorrow, on Saturday, they're going to be having the high school mile going on. And I feel like that's something you would know about, just automatically.
Yeah, the field's got a huge international contingent, and actually reached out to the NXN winner from cross country, Joe Johnson. I don't know what I'm talking about here, but he's a great athlete, an amazing distance guy, and they're excited to try and break for a huge ask on the indoor scene. But there's Daniel Simmons, there's Jojo Jordan, there's someone from Ireland who's coming in. I'm very excited that there's both boys and girls. They haven't quite reached
Yeah.
men and women, I guess, is the way that they describe it. But that being here at New Balance is a big deal, bringing in that big field. So, we'll be talking about that, and on Sunday is the big show. So,
How do you have time to keep up with everything?
that is a great question. I think it just comes with experience and loving what I do. So it was not always the case where I could cover every single subject matter in track and field and running. I was almost exclusively focused on distance for the first 3 years of the channel, probably, before it really reached a bigger audience. And I think I realized every single thing that I'm involved in where I consume media online is a source. You've got Instagram, you've got Twitter, you've got Facebook, which for me is more and more irrelevant every day. And I'm not talking negative on Meta, it's my personal interest. There's Let's Run, there's World Athletics. There's a few online databases that are very interesting that track split times.
Yes.
Heck, there's people that I'm in touch with, like yourself, that are willing and able to share. And then there's the people that travel the world and get footage and, are looking to make some money off of their footage, which we've worked with. So there's just so many ways of being involved in getting the actual content. And it also helps that I've been disciplined with my time to where I sit down, I'm researching every day, writing scripts, really interested in the statistics of behind the scenes of certain, weird statistics, like who's the only three that have broken 110 in the 100, 20 in the 200, and 44 in the 400. When you really enjoy something, those things can take you a long way as far as views go. And I think we've just gotten lucky a lot of times too, because things that I've just enjoyed have become content. I think I answered your question.
No, you did.
Yeah.
I don't think you've gotten lucky though, because
Appreciate you saying that.
That is the missing piece that I feel we have in our sport. We're so hung up on the big record, right here, the world record.
Yeah. Who's the next?
And it's
gold?
if you're not the world record holder, everything else doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh! If I had a nickel for every time someone said, if you don't hold the world record, then you're not you don't qualify as the GOAT in something, which is certain occasions true, other occasions, women's 100 meters, not true.
Yeah.
Fact, close to fact in my
400
opinion.
meters, women's 800 meters.
Yeah, I mean the list goes on, and I mean world records are great. Don't get me wrong. I've jumped into that real estate for content many times because it's interesting. It's a very identifiable thing to isolate. But yeah, there's so much more that people really need to learn. And you've done a great job at expanding on that to the behind the scenes, to training in your videos, which you get, if you're watching this, watch that. I've learned so many things about your starts, the statistical breakdowns, what numbers you're looking for, your steps, things like that are so interesting to me. And I think people finding that could open up more doors for their own track and field consumption.
And truthfully, that's why I do it. The amount of information that I feel people don't see or don't even fathom that we think about could blows their mind.
Yeah.
I mean, just how you're looking at stats, or you're trying to find as much stats as you can, we're doing the exact same thing on the other side. I'm trying to figure out how can I get my 10-meter splits, on paper, and hey, we're looking at this and we're going back, and I'm telling my coach and we're looking at it, and it's okay, that first 10 meters, that needs to be faster.
Yeah.
It just has to happen. It doesn't matter how much faster you make everything else on this list. If you don't make that first 10 meters faster, you're going to be so far behind in the race, nothing else is going to matter.
Yeah.
And it's okay, yeah, then we're going to go back and we're going to fix that. Okay, but how do you fix that? Why is that 10-meter segment not good? Do I need to go and make sure that I'm producing more power, or do I need to make sure that my cadence needs to be faster, or is it just I'm wasting energy by throwing my right leg too far to the right or too close to the inside? There's so many different ways, but everybody is just so hung up on if you just try harder,
it's just
you just train harder.
No.
It's that's a very high school early idea of thinking. What I try to teach almost everybody who joins the group, now that I'm kind of the elder of the group, which is crazy to say now.
Hardly.
I'm hardly, but I've been in the group for 7 years. I'm 27. I'm not the oldest, but I've definitely been there the longest.
Yeah.
that's that most active now, is I want you to try and work smarter, not harder. Working as hard as you possibly can, that's for the people who are going to wear themselves out.
Yeah.
You need to think about how can you obtain as much data as possible and use it in the best way possible.
I feel like that's something most people don't even ever think about. And when you're trying to reach a wider audience for the sport, they assume that, your work ethic is certainly good, but they don't understand like the details. I mean, even a lot of fans don't understand the details. And I think that getting involved in the sport in the very beginning, yeah, you're right. It's about the effort. If you give an effort against your average high schooler, you're probably going to beat them. But then it turns into an art form. And everyone's a little bit different. And I would love to hear, I know I'm on your podcast. I have so many questions, like
don't be afraid.
Small ones that have worked, small adjustments that have worked for you over the years, where you find your red line of too much effort, not enough effort, how that switches during the season. Things like that are things I think about. And it is different as a distance runner. It is so different because that's where my background comes from. And the grind is like just so much. It's in a different world, honestly. It's like you're both running, but it's a different sport entirely. Yeah. And it's obviously a lot longer based as far as like the effort you're putting in individually before your next workout. But I'm totally rambling about distance.
It's all right.
Running,
why don't you ask one of the questions that you have on your head?
I'm curious. Like, I know 2022 was a big jump for you, but 2023 was a different jump, equally if not bigger, but just in a different direction because you tripled. Excuse me. Where's the hat? We gotta get.
Thank you. Where's the hat?
It's over here.
There's one over here. Someone give this man
That's
the hat.
That's the one. Is this still available?
Not that one. So that is one of the originals. So what you see how it has the 3 on the side.
Yeah.
That means that it was the first batch made.
Hey.
All the ones that everybody bought have 6s on them.
Is this 6-time global champion or 6-time world? This is global right here.
6-time world champion.
I'm gonna have to increase the numbers
because it would be 7 if it was global, or it would be 8 if it was global.
Gotcha. That's right.
Yep, 6. Then you have the Olympics. Then you have the relay, the 4x1 relay in Oregon. So it'd be 8. One. If it was just all
outdated. I'm just kidding.
It will be soon.
I think my question really comes down to like you jumped into the 100 and obviously found gold medal success in 2023, and now it's an Olympic year 2024. What jump changed from 2022 to get down to 9.83 in 2023? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
There's all these years crossing.
Yeah. It was the devotion to the 100. One, because I had to get to a point where the 200 was so secure that I could let it be and just come back every so often and check in on it and be like, hey, you okay? Yeah, we're good. And like, I could drop a 19.4. You could drop one if you want. Like, okay, cool. And then go back to the 100 and just be like laser focused. Like, we got to get this right. We got to get it straight.
Yeah.
Especially running the 60s. It really told me where I was getting gapped at. That first 10 meters is very crucial. But what was even more crucial that I felt I could improve on the most was 10 meters to 30 meters. Like, as soon as I get past that 10-meter mark, I need to be going at it. Like, I need all my muscles to just be on 100 and giving me all the effort it can. Another big moment that I had was working with Ralph Mann. We had him coming down, I think, 3 times in 2023. And I'm telling you, 2 of those sessions were garbage, just horrible, frustrating. Some of the worst numbers I've put together since I first started running. And again, we have a YouTube video, the Grassroots, just on how bad that session was. But because I kept going and pushing through that moment and the data I was receiving, I was able to get to one of my best sessions with him the next time and the last time he showed up, which was right before Worlds. And in there, I learned that I am now strong enough to be able to have a longer stride length and produce enough power to get down the track. And I had to break a habit of trying to quicken my steps and having a quick stride and make it a longer stride.
Yeah.
Knowing that I had the power to do it. Knowing that I was going to be able to force myself down the track, not up into the air. Knowing that even though it might look like I'm getting left, I'm still in the pocket of my opponent that I need to be in.
Yeah.
And I truly saw that one in the 60 a year ago here when I was able to put my pocket into Trayvon Bromell. And then I saw it again when we went to Worlds and in the semifinals. And I was able to put my pocket or pick the pocket of Omen Walla. And I knew at that moment that everything was done. Now I'm just trying to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
I just want to do it every time.
I mean, with repetition comes perfection. I'm assuming this year it's another attempt at the triple, but I mean, there's the rumors of the quadruple, which would be amazing. I'm not sure what the truth is behind this, but
if they offer the chance, I will run it, and if I'm healthy.
I mean, you did hold the indoor 300 world record for a long time.
I did hold it for a few years. The only reason it's not mine again is because I haven't run it since that year.
You think you could beat Gardner's
100%.
31.56?
100%.
Or 5.6.
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
We got it.
Easily. I did that.
We'll take it in a non-Olympic year
I
then.
did that in my first year of being professional.
That's true. That was 2018, right?
No weight training. Horrible block starts. I was a skinny, wearing 2 sizes in my spikes too big. I didn't know what I was doing back then.
31.87 is not a joke.
That was my third 300 meter that year.
It's amazing. And while we're on the topic of spikes, I've been looking for a proper way to bring this up, and it's just impossible. I told you I was going to bring you something, and this is, my wife thinks it's both cool, and I agree it's kind of lame, but I wanted to bring you this. It's very, very small, but so I know you like interesting socks.
I do.
These
Okay.
are the brainchild of a very weird prototype.
Okay.
This is an idea. They're called PR socks.
All right.
And yes, that has the TRP logo.
Yeah, I was gonna say
But
is that
they are the most one of the most comfortable pairs of socks I've ever heard, and they're not released or anything. But my goal is to mentally approach this with, you have like a 10 to 15% higher likelihood of setting a personal record when you wear these socks. Do not feel any pressure to wear them on a global stage, because I don't think that's necessary. Probably a sponsorship conflict. But in training, I mean, you're going to see results. Anyways,
okay.
not as good as Raisin Bran Crunch.
Definitely not as better.
But these are just something that I thought you would appreciate as someone I've seen mixing up anime and the best cartoons in the game when it comes to
So
socks.
are we going off of just it being very comfortable, or is there science to it?
No, there's
actually
no
just-
science
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Yet. That's
Yet.
the thing.
Okay.
I wanted to get on the ground floor with a professional to really...
To test its capabilities.
If you put it market-wise in a nice sleeve, a nice like plastic wrapping, and I mean, it's all about the marketing, right? You know, you get in the
marketing
brain
is
on it.
key.
Marketing is very key.
You,
so
you
if
can have the most trash product. Then.
I mean, I should have wrapped it now.
be
Looking
great.
in retrospect, it would have been a lot more.
No, this
anticipated,
is
but-
more. This is better
Okay.
because I can just throw it in and use
Yeah,
it. I mean,
there's no
I'm
pressure.
always looking for socks.
There's no pressure. I mean, if it comes from my mouth, maybe there's like an actual chance. We'll see. Anyways, so that's amazing to get back to the 300 though. So I mean, I would love to see that. And heck,
I would. I wanted to run it this year, but then World Indoors, came up this year, and I'm like, I think I really want to give that a shot.
I think that would give people a powerful perspective on your 400 abilities if you're looking in the relay. Because, I mean, who knows when they're going to select which teams, like the day before. So you got to, I mean, you've done it recently. I think you did one in, was it Tom Jones last year? It was more of a
I
jog
was
fest.
jogging
Yeah,
that.
48. I mean, I'm sure you were just snoozing.
That's the
halfway through.
problem. You have to put me on second leg, or if you put me on any other leg, I'm only gonna do what's needed.
I mean, you had no incentive. What are you going to do?
And that's
Try to drop
I'm
a
that type
45?
of athlete. If I don't have an incentive, it's very hard for me to get into it. So if you put me on last and we're in first, I mean, if you put me on last leg and we're in first, I'm only gonna give. I'm not gonna break no record. We're not gonna break records.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do whatever I need to do to keep it in first. If you put me on second, we can be in first, and I'm still gonna I'm gonna drop a bomb, just because I know that if I make the biggest gap possible, the other person will do their job to widen that gap.
Has there ever been anyone to do the quadruple?
There has
1, 2, 4x1, 4x4.
It was a British sprinter. He's actually John Regis. John Regis.
The golds, quadruple, or
He
just
did.
the medals?
I think he did four
When was this?
For
I should
golds,
know
I
this.
think.
Early 90s?
Because
Late
somebody
80s?
on Twitter told me. Because I thought I would have been the first.
That's
but I
a
think,
statistical.
No, I
anomaly.
gotta fact check that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
run.
it was John Regis.
John Regis. Wow. Okay. It's pretty remarkable. But I guess you occasionally get a good 1-4 combo guy. I feel like Grant Holloway's run some solid 4x4 legs, and he's a 60-meter, 100-hurdle specialist. So
I keep telling them to put him on the relay. Well, here's the rumor that's not confirmed.
oof. Rumors scare me.
We might be running together on a relay at Florida Relays. Or
That
Tom
would
Jones.
be excited.
So.
Oh, man. Florida relays are so awesome. Those early season, like, outdoor Florida meets are just fire.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
so
They're
fun.
just- they're
Low
just-
pressure, high performances. It's great.
Yeah, you just get in, have fun, get out.
Well, if you do, I'll be watching. That's
Yeah.
exciting.
By the way, I do have to thank you for giving attention to sprinting.
Hey. Yeah.
Like you said it earlier how you have your background in distance, and I feel that for the sport that is a heavy focus.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the forums are on distance.
Yeah.
And I'm just not a distance guy, so I don't understand the full picture.
Yeah.
But I've always wondered, why is there just not as many forums as that for sprinting?
You know, it's interesting because YouTube, at least for the past couple years, if you upload a sprinting video, you're going to get more views than a distance video, from my experience. Obviously, around the time when Kipchoge was about to attempt a sub-2, that was like the topic. But like we talked, Let's Run, the huge forum website, definitely touches on sprinting, but like distance gets a lot of the attention. So tomorrow's the United States Marathon Olympic Trials. Everything on the front page, and rightly so. I'm a huge marathon fan, is getting that attention. But there's some like popping up names getting good attention right now that deserve more attention, rather, like in the 60. You've got a guy named Jens Reynold Fernandez from Cuba, ran a 6:48.
I saw that.
That was awesome. I no clue who the guy was.
No, shocked.
And I hope
Shell
I
shocked.
hope he's clean, which we
Yes.
might jump into soon.
Yes.
But his coach reached out to me on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, appreciate you covering him." I'm like, "Why would nobody be covering the world's fastest 60 guy in 2024 right now?"
Because
he crushed it.
They truthfully, that's something that would fly under the radar. Truthfully, like we could. The amount of conversations that I can have on just why is nobody talking about sprinting? Like they would just talk about like indoor. I understand why indoor is mostly distance because I mean we only got like 3 events.
Yeah.
But even when we get to outdoors, like everybody wants to talk about the 5K, the 800, the 15. I'm just like, but we are like in a golden age of women's 400 meter running. We are seeing the 100 and the males come back. We're in a golden age of female 100.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
for
like,
sure.
what? Like, why is it always just distance? Or at least, why is all the podcasts just distance?
Podcasting. That's for sure.
Like you have been my only go-to for just sprinting.
That makes me feel ridiculously happy.
And it's not just they ran fast. It's okay. Here's some statistics to why they might have run fast.
Yeah.
Or here's their consistency chart. And I'm like,
Yeah.
like this is the stuff I'm dying to see.
Oh man.
Like me and Josephus, my brother, will talk about this stuff for hours.
Yeah.
Hours every day. We have to literally stop ourselves. Like our girlfriends would be like, "That's enough track for today."
Yeah. That was my wife before I made the channel because it was, everything was so exciting to me, and she listened. She had a limit though. It was like 3 hours later. She's like, "Okay, you gotta take this somewhere else. Create an avenue for it." And I want to touch more on what you're talking about, like under coverage of sprinting, because if there's any events that are going to be easy to watch, easy to consume, easy to understand, even during the off season, it would be the shorter sprints, 100 and 200. And I mean, you say we are unquestionably in a golden age of women's 100, women's 200. A lot of women's sprints right now is like off the charts with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, excuse me. I have been thrown under the bus for that multiple times.
Really?
I mean,
I kind of pronounced it the first way.
is where I read it from my American naive perspective. Fraser is what most Jamaicans tell me. Confirm or deny.
Now that you say that, Janelle, does always.
Yeah, we're gonna
pronounce it
need a
that way.
professional opinion when she's available. But I could. The list goes on. Obviously, Jamaicans and obviously Sha'Carri's doing great from the U.S. And there's multiple athletes across the globe that are doing great. But I think low key right now, I think men's sprints is getting great foundational like consistency, wide reaching, and obviously you're in the absolute thick of it, leading the charge from my end. But I think in this year is certainly the year to make big moves with the Olympics. But I mean, we have another World Championships next year, and big names coming in. Obviously, there's Tobogo from Botswana. There's Amanyala, who just get through the rounds and you'll be all right, or at least show up to the World Championships not like with urgency like he did in Eugene. It's like flight missed or something. It was so sad.
Yeah,
the dude's
that's crazy. I hate to see that.
He's
stuff.
run a 6.52 this year.
Yeah,
already.
I just saw that he just did. I
Rocking
just watched
it.
the video at dinner.
I want to name so many names and
because there's always going to be more.
Yeah,
I do understand.
and I'm expecting 9.7s to become more
common
regular
again. I actually do too.
I really think that's going to be more regular, even though we've only seen 12 athletes go under 9.8, maybe 11. I play this game with myself where I try to remember top 10s, like from number 1 to number 10 in every event, and it's hard.
That is very impressive.
I usually don't make it, granted, but it helps me stay alert and aware of what's happening. So obviously the men's 100 is one of the easier ones. There's Bolt, Blake, Gay, Gatlin. Asafa Powell.
Yeah, I was gonna
absolute
say
legend.
in there.
I'm gonna stop there. That's embarrassing. By the way, your podcast with him was great.
You're throwing yourself under the bus. The fact you remembered is already good,
and it's important too. Like, I don't expect your average person to be like, I can name even 5 out of the top 10 in any given event, because some athletes are retired, some haven't even been on like a single avenue for talking in a couple years, but like bringing all these people up regularly and looking at how the current landscape is going against historical landscape is something I always try to do when we make a video.
And I actually thank you for that, because the history of our sport is just as important as the present.
Absolutely.
And I was literally just in a conversation with an athlete who just joined our group. Now, here he is, very talented athlete. Actually, I'm not even going to use that example. We had a game night, and again, we have a lot of new kids in our group, and I'm talking to about 4 of them, and me, Kendall Williams, and Jadell are like, we need to figure out how well y'all know y'all history. We said, who's Maurice Green?
Please.
They said, oh, he's the fast guy. I was just like,
the fire extinguisher shoes guy.
They wouldn't even know that. They wouldn't even know that.
Sub 6.460.
Hang on. This is what I hit him with. I said, which world championship did, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name now. That Mike Rogers win.
Mike Rogers. Yes,
and it was like, he won 2019. Nope. He won 2018. Wasn't a world championship that year. He won 07. I don't even think he was running yet.
He was 20.
I'm like, because you're now just proving to me that you don't know who this athlete is. And it's
Mike
just
Rogers.
like, guys.
Prolific. Very prolific.
Because I was in a conversation, they was just like, what? I mean, once you're 35, you're pretty much done. So you'd be like Kim Collins. Who's that?
Yeah.
Kim Collins.
You asking me?
The man? No.
Okay, because I know. Kim Collins
this is still the story.
He's still the only over 40 athlete to ever break 10.
Exactly.
Absolute legend.
And I'm like, you know what? The history is so lost, and one of the actual reasons that I wanted to do, the walk-ins, where is because I wanted to, 1, have a place for athletes to show their own personalities.
Sure.
2, bring in this idea that we can start having stars walk almost this red carpet into our sport, showing that people outside of the sport are coming and watching, makes other people want to watch. And 3, if you have a platform for the older generation to come in and be treated like celebrities, how can we say to other celebrities, come to our track meets, if we don't even treat our own celebrities
That's a great
with
point.
respect? Like, it just kills me
It's such an interesting point. This is something I think about regularly, and today I was talking with my wife about it. It was the notion of how celebrity gets created across sports is fairly similar. Like the thing is with basketball, for example, it's very identifiable because these are tall, strong, iconic athletes. Even from the just seeing someone on the street, you probably know that they're going to be like an athlete of some sort. If you don't know who KD is, like you see him, the man's 6'11".
Yeah, he's
and
easily noticeable.
Easily noticeable, exactly. And today when I got into Boston, even me, who's very familiar with the sport, I was walking by baggage claim, and I took a double take, and I was like, oh, that's Sonny Brown from Japan.
Yeah.
They look so normal. This is a sub-10 Japanese rock star, in my opinion. And it made me think, like, is there something that we, like you mentioned, like maybe it does need to be a better intro, better storyteller. How do you get athletes in the track and field world to be more identifiable? Bolt is the most obvious, easy answer. Perfect name.
Yeah.
6'5".
Yep.
Obviously, world records help.
He's Jamaican.
Even I think
Everybody
Jamaican
wants to
help.
be Jamaican.
And this is literally copyrighted, I believe now.
It is
I remember doing
copyrighted.
this with my brother when I was like 17, and I didn't realize how huge it was. You couldn't have created in a laboratory a more perfect name for a sprinter, or the athlete himself, obviously. So I mean, it makes me want to think like, what can we create for you, Noah Lyles, that will somehow take you from, this position to here, whether it be performances on the track, or whether it be just a simple like time cover magazine. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I will say there's one video in particular. I cannot remember his name, but it's talking about why for a lot of people track is irrelevant. It's on YouTube. It's got Jakob Ingebrigtsen on the cover, on the thumbnail. Find it, watch it, because it's only got like 20,000 views. Last I saw, it's amazing. It's talking about why other sports like MMA grow for months these rivalries. And these guys aren't necessarily like so identifiable like an NBA player, but they go into epic storylines, and it's stakes are a little higher. You could get knocked out versus just getting beat in a race. But I actually think that like a straight race is even more primal. You're not actually looking to harm someone, but it's just like a fair outrun, outperform.
I'm faster than you.
It's the perfect athletic moment.
I say this, and I feel that I'm going to be saying this to the end of time. Marketing is everything.
Yeah.
How you market something
Yeah.
will speak to somebody.
I actually took I have a very weird education, nothing to do with like running necessarily or even statistics, but I have a master's in public health, which I actually got out of before the pandemic hit. So that could have been used better.
Okay.
But we did do a lot of number crunching, and one of the classes was about marketing, and I realized like I actually loved that class. And YouTube is, you could argue it's almost completely marketing.
Oh,
it is
100%.
It is a lot of exposure, but it's also a lot of just like understanding what's happening. And you kind of do need to be involved in your specific industry to capture that moment. It is about capturing a moment, and trying to do it every day is impossible successfully. But like, yeah, a lot of people have good takes on what's going to be the next like correct marketing move. Some of them are very organic. I think just you and your improvements is like the best example right now, and backing up talk is so excellent
And showing up.
captivating. Showing up
Is very important too.
Don't
'cause
dodge,
It gives
for the love of God.
I'm going to speak real quick, and then we're probably going to have to wrap this
all
up.
good.
But I agree. You cannot stress how important being consistent is, showing up. Even when you don't believe you're going to win, you still have to finish the story.
Yeah.
Humans hate when things do not have closure. I don't care if the closure is good or bad, they need something. And when a story is started and all of a sudden scrapped and thrown out the window, things become confusing. And it's hard to follow. And unfortunately, that is something that our sport has a ton of.
Interesting.
Even like we can just take this meet in general. I have watched the 400 meters go from having like the previous champion of last year, the previous champion of 2 years ago. And now it's like, okay, it's just Vernon and, some other people who you may have heard of or may not have heard of.
Yeah.
But it's like, wow, we went from like having a heavy, fully loaded race to where we think this could show something to where they might be able to do something outdoor, where we might see a medalist emerge later in the future to, okay, it's, maybe I think we kind of know who's going to win the race type situation. And people don't like that. And I'm not saying that, we should not back out of races for health reasons or for, family reasons or something like that. But I feel there should be those key meets that when you choose the people who are going to be in there, we bunker down hard.
Yeah.
Very hard on making that they are committed to coming and that they want to. And I understand that's hard because the way our sport's set up, unfortunately, medals is how we make our money.
Yeah.
I understand that. If anything, medals has definitely made me most of my money.
Yeah.
I love to race. That's why I like to show up to track meets, and I love competition. That's why I like to show up at where fast people are at. But I understand the other side, because if you are injured and it's getting close to championship season and you think that's going to hinder it,
you gotta take it easy.
I'm going to go get ready for the thing that's going to pay my bills for the next 2 years.
That's crazy. But it's true. If there could be a guaranteed, even if it's only 3 times a year, which is more than world championships or Olympics, that would boost the sport. It really would. But that's an entire other conversation.
It is
Looking
another
at people's
entire
schedules. We'll have to postpone that.
Yeah. To be honest, unfortunately, that's. I guess we're just gonna have to have you back on here.
Okay, we'll make it happen whenever the next Boston happens. Perhaps, I don't know. We'll look in.
What are you doing? What are you doing in June? New York Grand Prix is also.
I will say
meet director.
We have been talking about going to New York, and I would love to go there. But when you come down to Atlanta, I mean that's where I live. I'm going to
be in Atlanta.
That's where I live.
Atlanta City Games, and we're taking somebody special, that 2 people special, to the Atlanta City Games for whoever wins the giveaway.
And I probably will be there. That would be awesome to meet the 2 very lucky individuals that made sure that they signed up and got a great trip down to an underrated city, might I add. Great area where you guys had it last year in Centennial Olympic Park, full of history and speeds. So yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you again for doing this, and again, being who you are. I know you told me your story and you took a risk out of making your channel, but I'd like to say that I believe it truly inspires a lot. I watch it all the time. I truly do, funny. All the time. It is a joy every time I see a new video pop up, even if it is about the marathon. Hey, I'm still going to watch it.
Stay tuned in 2024. Showdown of the century.
I wish you great luck for tomorrow, and I truly can't wait to see what the next video is going to be.
Hey, thank you. And good luck to you tomorrow. You're actually racing.
That's true. Thank you. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for viewing me and Andrew have our conversation. If you haven't already, go and watch Total Running Productions. They are a great channel. They actually have 2 so that you can get as many videos as possible for as much information about track and field as you want. I heard that he does look at comments. So if you guys have great ideas, I think you should go ahead and swing one of those to him. Again, I will see you guys in the next video. And please make sure you go sign up for the giveaway. We're trying to make sure that 1 of y'all, 2 of y'all, get to Atlanta. It's going to be a lot of fun.